Are Islamic jihadist groups really extremists? Or are they emulating historical religious precedent? Today, I want to dig into a provocative dilemma: how the West frames Islamic fringe groups, and whether that label actually holds up under scrutiny. Just to be clear, this isn't about justifying violence, it's about confronting our own moral assumptions and asking tough questions about how we judge other cultures. Let's rewind to the 7th century. The Prophet Muhammad, revered by Muslims worldwide, led a series of military campaigns. Some were in defense, but many were offensive, aimed at establishing and expanding the early Muslim community. This wasn't some fringe behavior, in fact, it was foundational, written right into the origin story of Islam itself. Fast forward to today, and you'll find some jihadist groups claiming they're following that very precedent. So, here's the question: if they're emulating their prophet, does that make them extremists? Or just devout believers acting out their history? Western societies, especially those rooted in liberal democracy, have their own yardsticks: secularism, pluralism, and a deep aversion to religious violence. By this measure, militant religious action gets labeled extreme almost by default. But here's the twist: we don't call Christians extremists for emulating Jesus' peaceful teachings, yet Muslims emulating Muhammad's militant leadership, suddenly that's dangerous. It shows a moral asymmetry in how we judge religious emulation, and it's something we rarely question. Now, Islamic authority isn't centralized. There's Sunni versus Shia, no universal Caliph, and competing interpretations of what jihad even means. This lack of a theological referee opens the door for fringe groups to claim their own legitimacy. So, when these groups say they're emulating the prophet, it's both plausible and hotly contested. That doesn't excuse violence, but it does complicate how we judge it. So, when the West calls jihadist groups extremists, it's often projecting its own values, rather than objectively measuring theological consistency. These groups may seem radical to Western liberalism, but within an Islamic historical framework, they might see themselves as faithful emulators. That's not a justification, it's an uncomfortable truth, and it demands some intellectual honesty from us. Extremism isn't a universal term, it's a cultural judgment. And if a group is condemned for acting out its religious history, I think we owe it to ourselves to ask, are they truly extreme or just inconveniently consistent? I'm not defending jihadist violence, I'm just asking for a more nuanced, consistent lens when we judge religious emulation across cultures.